Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We've got Ale, we've got Frank, and we've got Ian with us answering your questions today. Okay. First question comes from Mohamed Teras, which says, Carlo Ancelotti is getting a lot of stick for the way Real Madrid are playing this season, when clearly the blame should be directed to the board for not bringing a Kroos and Carvajal replacement. Isn't their problem clearly the lack of a ball-playing midfielder? Ale.
The criticism that I would have for Carlo Ancelotti in this version of Real Madrid is the fact that he hasn't been able to find the right combination as to how you fit Mbappe onto the field, Vini onto the field, and making the decision to continue to have Rodrigo on the field and Bellingham on the field. At some point, there would have been a need to find balance, and he hasn't gone in that direction. This team struggles to defend, and it tends to be, in the midfield anyways, that Valverde is running around trying to cover a whole lot of ground, and that's about it. He doesn't get a whole lot of help in that area. And so if you're able to play through the initial pressure of Real Madrid, which is not great because Mbappe doesn't press very well, Vini doesn't press very well, Rodrigo doesn't press very well. You play through that first line, find the space in the midfield, and now you're going the other way, and the only player who's chasing defensively in that midfield area usually is Fede Valverde. That can be addressed by a manager, and it has not been addressed by Carlo Ancelotti, and has very little to do with the absence of Kroos and the absence of Carvajal. Big absences, Carvajal in particular. Kroos, you knew that he was moving on. But the absence of Carvajal, what has happened is, because he's out there and Lucas Vázquez cannot do the job, then Fede Valverde gets pulled out as a right back, and now you have nobody running in the midfield. Again, those are things that Carlo Ancelotti could have addressed himself and hasn't so far this season.
Next question,
Ian.
Ian.
Can I say something, Kay,
yes,
about that story?
Yes, please do, Frank.
Kay, can I say something about it?
Of course.
It's strange because I go with Ali, and I'm wondering why Carlo Ancelotti is not capable of doing the truth to some players and to the board as well, and to address to the board the fact that even if they are stars, they shouldn't play all the time. And the only guy in the world with maybe Pep Guardiola who can decide to put on the bench a Vinicius Junior or Kylian Mbappe because he's not running back can only be Carlo Ancelotti because of the past that he has and the respect that people should give to his decisions. But that's a real problem, an issue that he has. It's like somebody is pushing him to, or forces him to put Vinicius Junior, Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, even if they don't run back. That's absolutely crazy. We thought in Paris Saint-Germain with Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, some coaches, they weren't as big in terms of results that they got in their career. They have gotten in their career. They couldn't say anything to them. But Carlo Ancelotti is above the players. He's even above the board. And the board should say, Mr. Ancelotti, if you think that Vinicius Junior, because doesn't run back, or Kylian Mbappe, because doesn't run back, should be on the bench, we are backing you up. But it doesn't seem the case, and it's very strange for me.
Okay. Given that you mentioned this earlier, Ian, let me put this one to you. Should Tarkowski be banned for 3 games now that the PGMOL has admitted that he should have been sent off? If he was sent off incorrectly, his ban would have been rescinded. So why the double standard?
It's an interesting debate, that, and maybe something that they need to maybe have a look at, I think, going forward. But I think as things stand, the protocol is they can't change their mind and make it into a retrospective ban because it wasn't punished at the time. But yeah, I mean, it is something to debate. Another thing to debate, and I think it came up in one of the games we showed on the show tonight, is if there's a second yellow card that results in a player getting sent off, maybe VAR should be able to look at that, because the one we saw tonight, I can't remember what the game was. Now, it was the Bayern Munich game, wasn't it?
Yes.
It wasn't a foul. The guy gets a second yellow. It does seem odd that VAR couldn't come in there and just have a word in the referee's ear and tell him, because you've then got a 10v11 game very unjustly. But these are all things for IFAB, the people who make the laws, to have a look at.
Actually, it might have been you who brought that up, Frank, but it was brought up in that moment, wasn't it, on the second yellow in that Bayern game. Anyway, for all, start, bench or drop these City players based off their impact for the club over the years. Aguero, Company and Kevin De Bruyne.
Ooh.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Can I start?
Yes,
Sure,
you
go
can.
ahead.
Got to drop one.
Definitely go for De Bruyne. Definitely go for De Bruyne. Different player. And then I go for the captain Company. How he handled his time there was pretty amazing. I go to Aguero, dropping Aguero because he hasn't been as consistent as the two others. So it's why. I put De Bruyne above Company because he was a creative player. And he was... We could see that when he wasn't playing, Manchester City weren't the same. So it's why I put De Bruyne at first.
Ian, would you change anything from what Frank said?
Not really. I mean, these are so hard. I mean, they're all superstars and brilliant players, aren't they? But definitely De Bruyne, number one for me of those three. It's pretty close, isn't it? Company, fantastic defender. Aguero, all those goals. So, yeah, probably Company second. Yeah, because he was such a rock and such a leader in the dressing room too.
And while I don't disagree with what both Frank and Ian are saying, you could argue that the most important goal in the history of Manchester City was scored by Sergio Aguero.
Yes.
That may have started all of this that Manchester City became. This is pre-Pep Guardiola. So, look, it's really tough to ignore Sergio Aguero. But in this list, it really is what you like. It really is what direction you lean into. If you're about leadership, then Vincent Kompany has to be at the forefront because it felt like all those teams took on his personality and he was very much in presence in everything that they did. If you're about creativity, then Kevin De Bruyne, it's second to none in terms of what he did with Manchester City. And if you're about goals, and I'm about goals, Sergio Aguero has to be a starter for you. It's difficult to make the argument that Manchester City would have become what they became without that goal by Sergio Aguero.
Ali.
So what is the order, Ali, for you?
I said I'm about goals. That's the only thing that I care about, goals.
Ali, what I was going to say is...
Okay, and second?
Whether that Aguero goal stands.
What did he say?
Say that again, Ian.
I said VAR are still trying to decide whether that Aguero goal...
Well, it's like the goal of England against Germany in 1966. We never know.
No, we don't need to. It's fine.
I think we know.
We know.
I think we know, Frank.
Yeah.
We know, Frank.
Yeah, we don't want to know. We don't want to know.
Let us have something, Frank. Let us have something. Okay, Ale, early predictions from you for MLS champion, Supporter Shield winner and Golden Boot winner.
Anything that has to do with MLS nowadays is Lionel Messi, Lionel Messi, Lionel Messi, Lionel Messi, Inter Miami, Lionel Messi, Lionel Messi, Lionel Messi, Inter Miami. And that's and while that may seem like I'm just having a go here, trying to be funny, it's actually a very good case to be made. If Lionel Messi were to stay healthy, then he would be the Golden Boot winner, and he would be all the other things, and Inter Miami would win all the other things that we're talking about. But the problem is fitness right now for Lionel Messi. So may not be the Golden Boot winner, but regardless, this is Inter Miami to win it.
Okay. Ian, have you ever been a commentator for a club legend's last match with a club? Is there a different way on how you approached calling the match?
I'm not sure I have. I've done people's testimonial. In fact, one of the testimonials I did was Stevie Nicol. For Liverpool.
Oh.
He rang me up and asked me if I'd come up and do it, which I was delighted to do, of course, because he was such a wonderful player. But yeah, I mean, prepping. Yes, you'd prepare if you were doing a game and it was like, say it's De Bruyne's last game for Manchester City, and that's some commentator is gonna have that job. Obviously, you would go through all his career stats, but you'd hope that you'd find words to do him justice and everything he achieved and what he meant not only Manchester City, but the whole area as well, and the fan base. So, yeah, somebody's going to have that job pretty soon.
Okay. Who will win the Ballon d'Or this year? As your French Frank, I'll ask you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It has to be Frank.
Do you really want my answer? I don't care! Like every year.
I know you don't care, but it's a question, Frank. You don't care about the golden shoe or foot or whatever it's called. We remember that famous speech and rant from you.
Yeah, the boot shoe, whatever, the golden shoe, whatever, the boot ball, the golden ball, whatever it can be. Who can win the Ballon d'Or this year? I don't know. I don't have any clue.
Are you looking for the
Well, do
answer?
you have a clue, Ali? Do you know? Yes,
I'm gonna
please,
say
give it to me.
I'm gonna say Lamine Yamal. Right now, where we are and where we stand, Lamine Yamal. And some people may punish him for being as young as he is and maybe like young player of the year or that. Right now, it's hard to think of any other player in the world, young or old, that's having a better performance game in and game out than Lamine Yamal.
Ian?
Yeah.
And Carvajal, I just want to say Carvajal again because he won with Real Madrid. He won but nobody cares about Carvajal because he's not a
Frank, that
fancy
ship has
player.
sailed.
So Carvajal
That
will never
ship
win.
has sailed, Frank, okay?
That ship sailed, came back, picked up more passengers, left
Missed
again.
the boat, Frank. Ian?
I think Rafinha's got to have a little bit out, doesn't he, as well, for everything he's doing for Barcelona. I mean, it's going to depend who picks up the silverware, isn't it? I think that will tip the balance. But I think that's a good shout. Lamine Yamal, as young as he is, imagine he winning the Ballon d'Or at 17 years of age. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It would be, but it would be, as you say, completely deserved and shouldn't be punished for his young years. You've got to look.
In fact, it should be celebrated that at that age, he's actually as dominant a player as he is. The other thing that perhaps hurts Lamine Yamal is that he's got sort of this attitude in which he just he's enjoying everything and everything is sort of carefree and careless, and he's not in front of the camera, look at me. And while that may seem silly to some, well, when you are in front of the cameras and you play to the cameras, and that has value in people voting for you. He's not out there garnering votes, but if I were to vote right now, who's the best player in the world? Right now, it's hard to make any sort of argument against Lamine Yamal. He has been outstanding.
Okay, all right. Frank, what about Dembele?
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has to win silverware. He has to win something. Yeah, he's going to win the Liga. But if he wins the Champions League, yeah, he can pretend to get something out of it because so far he has had a very good season, and as much as I appreciate Lamine Yamal, I think Dembele can compete with him in that matter. They play almost in the same position. He scored goal as well. He's been absolutely outstanding with Paris Saint-Germain, with France as well. So yeah, if he wins the Champions League, yeah, we can put Dembele in the race for sure.
The argument against Ousmane Dembele is that he's had a good second half of the season, a productive second half of the season. It wasn't quite the case early on where the criticisms were the same as they always have been. But the second half, he has been outstanding.
Okay. Last question, guys, for everyone. Continuing from yesterday, who would be the one person from the FC crew that you would like to swap lives with for one day? And if you don't want to swap lives with anyone, you have to choose somebody, okay? Any thoughts, Ian?
I've got to swap lives. Oh, I think it's got to be Craig
One day.
Bird. Really?
What?
I tell you why, Ali.
What?
I just want to be as good at golf as he is.
No, but you know what that would mean, that would do to your body, to your being, having to carry that anger around you all the time. What?
But he's got that nice home where he gets those bears in the garden and all that kind of thing as well.
No.
Golf course Craig is going to be different.
To be fair, Golf Course Craig is the mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, but Golf Course Craig, I don't get to see Golf Course Craig all that often, so... I don't know about all that. That's a hard call to make with Craig. I'm going to say Shaq. I'm going to take Shaq. And let me tell you why. I have never seen a man so relaxed in my lifetime, to be honest with you. And I would love to live my life the way that Shaq does, in which nothing ever bothers him. Nothing. I wish I could do that. I wish that I could live my life with that sort of relaxation. I kid you not. And I saw this myself. Shaka in an airplane. He's asleep before you start taxing. Before you push back, he's already asleep. I can't do that. I wish I could do that.
Yeah. So one shout for Craig Burley, one shout for Shaka Hislop. Frank.
Definitely Craig Burley, because I want to know how it feels to be the most hated former players from Chelsea. So I don't know that, so I want to know how he feels about that. So I want to swap that for 1 second, his life. Just
for 1 second, not one day, 1 second. But what if it were a day, Frank? Would you be able to deal with that?
No, it would hurt me so much. I would change my mind. I would try to rectify everything. So
nice, good stuff. Nice question.
You can make the case for Stevie as well. And sort of get in that head and ask yourself, how has he made it through life? How did he get to this point? Because Stevie is one interesting character.
Yes.
For those of us that deal with him on a daily basis, no clue as to how he's managed to end up where he is, because he really has a difficult time just getting into his computer here at work. That's hard work for Stevie.
Which is why that penalty story in his European Cup final was so hilarious.
And yet he manages.
He still wins at life. He still wins the Champions League.
It'd be nice to be Frank as well, dancing with the stars.
Get to live in Paris. Get to go to all the glitzy events.
Raising the World Cup trophy. You could be
Frank's
Frank.
a great choice. Yeah. Anyway, good questions. Thank you so much for sending them in.
I don't want to swap with anybody. Leave me in my life and in my body.
There you go. That's how you know it's a good life.